viewers. Nancy Tapia would like to know, after all these years of warning the world, how did Ian Malcolm evolve to be the character he is now in Jurassic World Dominion?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, it was a good question for me in trying to act, with this big gap in between what you know about me. And so I had to kind of try to imagine what I've been doing and how I now feel and think about all sorts of things. Colin Trevorrow helped. He had ideas and we collaborated and talked about it. But I think that Ian Malcolm, because he went through those events in 93 and in 96 and 7, where he almost died and saw other people die from this encounter with giant, fierce animals, was transformational. And I think he probably feels precious about all of life, is more present in his life, has prioritized the important things, has several children whom he adores deeply. I think his relationships have been deepened. And I think he's developed an even more urgent mission to use himself to contribute to the scientific community and to the community at large and be a better steward on the planet and figure out how we can all, with global cooperation, live peacefully, not only amongst ourselves, but between us and other species and all the creatures on Earth.
Congratulations and welcome to the global press conference for Jurassic World Dominion, a movie that so many people all over the world are so excited to see, and rightfully so. So there's questions flying in from everywhere. I'm going to start with one of my own. Okay. I would like to know, Jeff, what was your reaction when you found out, not just that you were coming to what is the grand finale of this movie, of the series, but also that you would be reunited with Laura and with Sam again?
I was so excited. You could have knocked me over with a feather. Is that the expression? Yeah, I was very excited. Come on. This franchise, these movies, back in 93, were so spectacularly enjoyable for me, working with Steven Spielberg, forever creatively changing, and then working with Laura Dern and Sam Neill back then, life-changing, and getting to know them. I was a different person because of it. And then getting to work with them again, very, very exciting. When I heard, it was Colin Trevorrow, our wonderful director, who told me during the shooting of a commercial several years ago, hey, I think we're going to do a third Jurassic World, because he had written the first one and directed it, wrote the second one, and said, I think there's going to be something good for you and Laura and Sam. What, says I. I was very curious and excited about it. And then it came to fruition. And then there we were on the set in England at Pinewood Studios, where they shoot the James Bond movies. I was out of my mind with gratitude and appreciation, I'll tell you that.
And we're all very happy that you're there, definitely. Joni Vikman from Episodi Finland, first of all, confesses that he's been a fan of yours for a long time. And then he would like to know, what place does Ian Malcolm hold in your career for you personally?
Well, like I say, creatively, it was a landmark moment. You know, what was that? That was 93. I'd done several movies and plays, but I'm a humble student of acting. My teacher, Sandy Meisner, said it takes at least 20 years of continual work to even call yourself an actor. And then you can keep improving if you apply yourself in the right way. And then working with Steven Spielberg, who, as we know, is we're lucky to be on the planet and working at the same time as him. His movies and his work methods, and he just spectacular. He's a giant of the cinema, and doing that taught me a lot and was very nourishing and life-changing. And then to work with the cast, like I say, Laura Dern, Sam Neill, was amazing. But then I think professionally, I kind of focused less on my so-called career, but I think I found out over the course of time that it was a good thing to have done. I think it made a big difference. And then, of course, seeing people come up to me over the last couple of decades and be so thrilled to have seen it and have stories and of all ages and from all over the world. That's a really life enhancing and just beautiful thing to have experienced.
So Zaborski asks, what is the biggest difference between the first Jurassic Park and this one in terms of the shooting, of the working with the effects and all of that?
Well, that's a good question. In the first one, we didn't know it at the time, at least I didn't, but we were intersecting with a breakthrough in cinema technology, ILM and Dennis Muren, Stan Winston with his animatronics, that could bring dinosaurs to life like they'd never been brought to life before on the screen, and it changed all of cinema. Some people have compared it to the beginning of sound in movies. It really was a moment, but at the time when it was new, there was a lot of looking at tennis balls and imagining where the dinosaurs were going to be. In this one, John Nolan had a creature shop there in Pinewood Studios that my two little boys visited, Charlie and River, 7 and 5, and saw them finishing the big dinosaurs. You see more dinosaurs in this than ever. There are different dinosaurs, and it was amazing. And it was Colin Trevorrow who thought and had the vision of putting more real dinosaurs that you could touch and feel and act with and work with in this one than ever before. But it was really, really amazing.
Rongthong Piluk asks, what is the most memorable experience about making this movie for you?
Well, I'll tell you, we did it. We were one of the first productions to work during the COVID challenges, and Alexandra Derbyshire and Pat Crowley were two of our producers who spearheaded and pioneered the protocols and figured them out. They spent a lot of money on it and put in a tremendous amount of effort and kept us safe. We didn't know how it would go, but they brought us along and got us to the finish line. And those same methods have been used by many productions since, and I think are still being used in some variation in shows right now in order to keep going. So it was just tremendously memorable, and we were all bubbled up because of that in a hotel called the Langley Hotel near Pinewood Studios, where they shoot these Bond movies. And my kids were there, and my wife was there, and we were all bonded in the company, I must say. We worked on weekends because we were all there, couldn't do anything else, and Colin Trevorrow kept us very focused and worked on scenes that we were going to do and shoot the next week. And it was very helpful and bonding and kind of a beautiful experience.
Brian from Asia One Singapore says, hi, Jeff. How long do you think you would survive in a world where actually dinosaurs really were living amongst us?
Hi, Brian. Good question. Geez. I have I'm a lucky guy. I don't know why. So far, sometimes I've crossed the street when I shouldn't have, and I don't know. I've been lucky. I've never gone near big animals, so I've never had an experience like that. And sometimes our dog, Woody, who's a great big standard poodle, well, he's very powerful, you know. All animals are so athletic, and he can run 10 times faster than I can. And but I haven't had a bad encounter with him. So maybe there's something about me that's that's lucky. So maybe I would do okay. I would hope so.
Asep from Deticom Indonesia is curious to know what was the most difficult part of making this movie for you?
Well, one of the most difficult parts was certainly all the stuff that happened because we were shooting during COVID. And I think just emotionally, too, the idea that we were making this movie and everybody was caring for us so thoroughly and meticulously while the rest of the world was not having an easy time of it. And many people were having horrible crises because of it and suffering a terrible loss. Um, that was emotionally um, challenging, and it was difficult. We all find ourselves in difficult times for one reason or another, and it's going to, as we know, take the human family to cooperate at our best to get through it.
Tamara Cullen says, "Hello from Australia. You
Hi.
began this you began this journey in 1993 and have now concluded it. Did you find some closure in this film, a sense of fulfillment for what this legacy has achieved?"
Gee, that's a good question. Yes, I think so. Colin Trevorrow and Emily Carmichael conceived this story and wrote such a lovely script that I think it wanted to close out the story that began with the park adventure and continued on through all the world, Jurassic World chapters. And they wanted to sort of conclude it in a way that was satisfying. I hope it does to audiences, but to make it, it felt satisfying. Yes, it did. I felt well nourished by it, and as somebody said in a line from a movie once, I felt like I'd revealed myself to myself and felt utterly drenched and purged.
Mumta from the Star, Malaysia, said, "What was it like to get together again with the original gang? Did you all sort of just picked up from where you left off?"
Yes, to get together with the original gang, I think you're talking about Laura Dern, the great Laura Dern, the great Sam Neill. Even though it had been 29 years, in some ways we kind of got right back on, felt like we were getting right back on the bicycle and started pedaling in a three-seated bicycle and singing a tune together. I tell you, we were all thrown together the first day uh, in this scene where I had to be driving this vehicle and running away from some prehistoric dangers of one kind or another. And we were acting with each other. And then we had a rig in that car that was supposed to kind of roll down a cliff. And so it actually spun all the way around. My kids were watching us shoot that day, but we were acting and acting, and Colin encouraged us to improvise. So we were making stuff up, and it felt like we had never left those characters in a way.
You mentioned before how that original movie was so groundbreaking in terms of the technology,
Yes.
but technology has evolved.
Yeah.
And Francisco Gangiano from Thin Express Puerto Rico would like to know, did you get to do anything with your character this time that you couldn't do back then?
That's so interesting. Yes, well, you know, I thought two things occurred to me. First of all, I was kind of interested in what my character, dresses like and presents himself like. He's an author and I think is known around the world here and there because he went through those events in '93, and they were, known. They were big news events. Um, but I think I sort of dress in a certain way. And in this one, I was able to have the time. Andrew Vitero and I were able to design a watch that I thought would be perfect for this character. And so we did, and I still have it. It's this watch right here. And it has my character's initials on it. I am Ian Malcolm. And inside, in fact, it's got that logo. It's got that dinosaur, that T-Rex logo on it. And this company called Jacques Marie Mage designed these eyeglasses for me that were sort of taken from an idea in 1993, those glasses that the character wore then. And we designed these things, Andrew Vitero and Jacques Marie Mage. And so I was able to do that. And then Colin Trevorrow wrote this scene where I'm introduced. If you haven't seen it, I don't want to spoil anything yet, but I'm giving a lecture to some younger scientists. and I was able to voice in a kind of a longer and more full-throated and passionate way my feelings and some ideas about what we're up to, what we could be up to, and what my vision is for our work together.
And the result, Jeff, is there on the screen, and it's truly impressive. Congratulations.
So nice. Thank you for doing this. Congratulations to you. Thank you to everybody.
Thank you for being here today with us.
My pleasure. Thanks. Thanks.